Hi, I'm Ali Jennings, and today I'm going to be showing you a few essential techniques to correcting colour within your images. Now, a great way to do this is within Adobe Camera Raw, and the reason for that is it's got a whole set of colour adjustment tools that can quickly enable you to correct your colours. So, here's our original image, and as you can see, it's got a slight orange tint to it, and what we want to do is just subdue that to get a more natural skin tone. Here's the before picture. And after we've made our corrections, we have a nice natural portrait that should look something like this. To get started, I'm going to open up our original file within Adobe Camera Raw. So with the file open, you can see here we've got that slight orange tinge, and what we want to do is correct colour. Now within Adobe Camera Raw, there are three main tools to do this. The first being the White Balance tool. Then over on the Basics tab, we have the temperature slider, which can warm and cool the image. And then right at the bottom, which is great for portraits, is the Vibrancy slider. What we're going to do to get started, I'll just turn off the clipping masks, is just correct the white balance. So if you go out to the White Balance tool, and the shortcut for that is just I, and what we want to do is find an area of neutral tone. With the pipette selected, just drag over your image until you see the values of the RGB over here on the right are all roughly equal. Now, a good starting point is just the shadow area of the eye here. So if I click in there, we can see all of the values are within about 20 of each other. And as soon as we click, the color cast neutralizes and we've got a much more natural skin tone. If I just click the preview off and then on again, and we can really see how that's just warmed up the image instantly. Now if I take a look at the temperature slider, this image is actually looking absolutely perfect with a temperature of about 4000, but if it's still looking a little bit cool, I could just increase the warmth of the image by increasing the temperature, or if it's looking too warm, likewise I can just reduce the temperature slider just to make it a little bit cooler. So for this particular image, about 4000 is perfect. Now I just want to lighten up a few of the shadows and just reduce a few of the highlights. So before I get started on that, I just want to switch on the clipping masks. And you can do that just by clicking the small arrows in the top, left and right hand corners of the histogram. And as soon as you do that, you'll see a blue mask which indicates shadow clipping. And if you could see any red masks, that would indicate highlight clipping. I can show you that just by increasing the exposure, and you'll instantly see that red highlight clipping mask appear. So the first thing we want to do is just to add a little bit more detail into the background. We can do that by reducing the shadow clipping, and we're just going to use the fill light. Now this isn't necessarily a colour enhancement tool, but it will draw a bit more detail out of that background. So with the fill light slider, I'm just going to increase that up to about 30, and you can see the shadow clipping just the treat. There's still a little bit of it, but we're not too bothered about that. But what you can see is that nice sort of green hue coming in on the background. Now at the moment, the skin tone is just looking a little bit dull, and I just want to increase the vibrancy and brightness of that. So I'm going to increase that by just a fraction up to 0.3. And you see that's just really brightened up those skin tones. Now just to add a little bit more colour into the picture, I'm just going to increase the vibrancy as well. Now the vibrancy increases the saturation of the less saturated colours over the more saturated colours. So it's perfect for portraiture. I'm only going to adjust that by about +10. Just add a little bit more colour to the face. Now if I just check the before and the after, so the before and after, and you can really see how we've got much more natural skin tones and we've got loads of detail in the picture as well. So once I'm happy with that, I'm now going to click Open Image just to open that within Photoshop Elements 7. Now I'm just going to make a couple of very quick adjustments just to improve the image further. And the first one is just a quick levels adjustment. So if I go to the Layers palette, click on the adjustment layer icon and select Levels. And what I want to do is just bring the highlight slider so that it meets the right hand edge of the histogram. And to make sure that I don't have any highlight clipping, if I hold down Alt and then move the slider, as soon as the red clipping mask appears, we know that we're starting to clip the highlights. So I'll just retreat off a little bit and release. Just check the before and after, and we see we get a nice bright image. Just click OK to confirm that. And what I need to do is just to merge the levels adjustment layer back in with the background layer. So if I just go Control E, or go up to my layer options, and I can just select flatten image. Now the final enhancement that I want to make for colour is just to increase those midtones. So if I go up to Enhance, Adjust Colour, and Adjust Colour Curves, and all I want to do is just boost those midtones slightly. So if I go down to the third slider down, I just want to increase that just very slightly, and you just see how that kicks out the midtones and adds a little bit more contrast to the picture. So if I'm happy with that, just click OK, and all that's left to do is a little bit of sharpening. So if we want to just quickly sharpen the image, just go up to Enhance, down to Adjust Sharpness, make sure that your preview is at 100%. I want to reduce the amount to about 50 and the radius to about 1.1. I just click on Preview before and after, and you can just see how it's nicely sharpened up all of the detail in the picture. Finally, just make sure I've got more refined ticked, click OK, and there we have our final colour portrait.